Hi, welcome back. This is Charlie at My Messy Fingers. We are continuing to work on our new album. It is featuring Ciao Bella's newest collection, which is Morning in Provence. Now, we've already done the outside, and we have our, I've got this going the wrong way. We have our inside left panel done, and now we're going to work on page 1. So on this, I'm going to give you some measurements here on our base page. I've elected to use this beautiful lavender print, and on the back side it had these prints, these elements, and we're going to use one of them that we cut off over here. But this is what we're going to use. And we are at 9 1/4 inches across, and we are at 8 3/8 in height. Now I have inked all my edges, and I am using Distress Ink walnut stains, so any dark brown that's in your collection, or you don't have to ink at all, or you may choose to use a different color to ink. I happen to like the brown because it allows for the other colors to kind of present themselves, at least in my eye. So what we're going to work on right now is your right side panel, and it is going to measure that 8 3/8 in height, and that's going to be the standard measurement throughout the album. What I'm going to focus on will be the width of the panels. This one's going to be at 5 3/4. You're going to score it at 1/2, and then you're going to score it at 3/4. The 3/4 will allow for any buildup or excess papers or pages that we may slip into the album. So it's going to go on first, and because it's the only piece on this side, I can take the base right up to that 1/2 inch score line. And then I'm going to push back and reinforce that 3/4 inch score line. And then on the left side, we're going to have a couple of panels over here. This particular panel that's going to go in first is going to measure at 6 1/2 inches across. You're going to score it at 1/2 inch, and then you're going to score it at 5/8 of an inch. And we will go ahead and get this put in. And again, you're taking this one right up to that 1/2 inch score line. Hold it over, burnish, and then you're going to push back again and burnish that 5/8 score line because we want to encourage it to stand up nice and flat. Now that we have those two in, we're going to come back here to the center. So you've got a 1/4 inch gusset over here, and you have a 1/8 of an inch gusset here, but this will be addressed when we go put in the next panel. For now, I have created a pocket, and I'm using one of my long metal punches. So you can use this long metal die, I'm sorry. So if you have a long metal die, that will work, or if you have a punch you want to work, or don't do it at all. But I've already put mine on. And then in my scraps, I found this piece. I've inked it, and it's going to go on just so. And then from the panel, this panel here, what came in on this side, the right side, was this featured item here. So I've taken it, I've cut it, trimmed it, mounted it on white cardstock, and I've inked it, and I've also put some pop-ups on it so that there's a little bit of depth. So this 1/8 of an inch gusset we have over here will help absorb the height that we're building up here. And then you'll have a pocket for putting in other items or for your photos. So I'm going to go ahead and get these pieces put together. Okay. And then I'm going to take all the pop-ups off, and I'm going to do this a bit off camera because I don't want these pop-ups all over my workspace, so I'm doing it quickly off to the side. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to center it as best I can, top to bottom, and then in the width. And I also see a pencil mark. I'm going to erase them, make it go away. I'm going to turn this over and burnish. And then I'm going to add my tape so I can put it into the album on the page. Whoops, oh, what in the world? This particular die was a little bit deeper. You can see by the holes here. I didn't want it that high. I just wanted the floral tips, so that's why I brought it down here. Okay. So I'm just going to take and line it right up. Oh, you know what I didn't tell you? My apologies, people. But this piece of cardstock was 2 1/4 inches across, and then if you add an edge, mine ended up being at 3/8, and then I had at least a 1/2 inch for tape on this side. All right, so now that's in, and then before I forget, I'm going to kind of place things where they're supposed to be, and then I'm going to get to this piece. All right, this is our top outside panel, and you can see it's going to set with a magnet. We're going to be at 7 1/4 inches across, and you're going to score it at a 1/2, and you're going to score it at 3/4. So then when you put this on, this is going to wrap around the 1/8 inch gusset. And then when we remove the tape, it should just fall right over in place. And if you're putting it on in this fashion, where I have it is it's right up against that 3/4 inch score line, so that this folds over and creates our gusset. Hope that makes sense. Now that I'm in this position, I'm going to take the tape off the back of that other magnet. I'm going to make sure that my top and bottom edges are level. and that my gussets are standing up the way they're supposed to, and then I'm going to press. Give it a little slide and she comes right off. All right, let's go back to the inside. This is the 12 by 12 piece that I used to cover the inside panels. This piece came off of the back side to this, I do believe. Or it went this way. I think it went this way. And I went ahead and I cut this, and then I thought, well, I need this workspace here, but I didn't want two different, so I taped it back together so that I can put, and you can hardly see the seam, so that I could put this on the backside panel. And then I have this 12 by 12 and this 12 by 12 for the inside of these panels. So what I would like to do before I go any further is I want to get this one in. And I am going to glue it in because I'm not dealing with a magnet. So I'm going to just quickly, as long as my glue thingy doesn't act up here. It's a brand new tip, but for some reason the glue just does not want to come out of there willingly. So hold on here just a second. Do a little bit of surgery on that glue tip, and let's see what we got going. Much better, much better. And just gently lay that right in place, and my piece comes just in front of the score line here. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to glue this one in place because I'm not dealing with a magnet. Let's just get it out of the way. Oh, this is just so baffling. Clean it out. It's not, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Okay. Make sure my pattern's going in the right direction. Now, what I did is I went into the cut aparts and I cut out this lantern, and it's going to sit down here as a tuck. So I'm just going to place it just about 1/4 of an inch in from the edge and up from the bottom, and then I used the bookmark as an extra element on that page. So now we'll go ahead and we'll get this glued down. I almost fussy cut this out, but I thought, nah, I'm not gonna do that to you. There's gonna be plenty enough to do with all the lavender elements. I think that's so pretty. And I really love the brown on that because it really picks up the brown and the hues in the lantern and especially in the bird. All right, so now we are going to move back to our right side panel. Let's go ahead and get some tape. I have a magnet, so I'm going to tape the back side of this. center this. And this, by the way, is the bottom of the 12 by 12. This is roughly how I cut them. And then once I get this on, I went back into the little cutouts. And I cut out a butterfly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue just the body piece and the antennae. I'm not going to glue any more than that. I would like the option of being able to open this page and have the wings open. Okay, now this piece will be taped down. This is the other half to what we just finished on our right side panel. Stick a little piece of tape down the center so that the two pieces of paper are connected. Line up this outside edge, make sure that I'm not on my gusset score line. And then we have a little pocket that I put on this page. It's one of the cutout cards, and I simply mounted it, inked it, mounted it on some heavyweight cardstock. I use 100-pound cardstock because I think it withstands a lot of this better than 65-pound cardstock. Again, it's my preference. All right, so this is done. Now we're going to take a look at the front of this. So as I told you, this piece roughly fit about like so. So I cut it, I measured across and I cut it down, and then I placed this on my front for the image, and then I came in and I lined this up and I cut off the top and some off the bottom so that this was the lavender image that I had wanted to create on this page. So then what I did is I used some of my circle dies and ran it through my platinum die cutting machine, cut it out, and then mounted it on some cardstock, and then we're going to put it right back in here so there's a little bit of height here going on. Now I've already taped a portion of the back, but I'm going to glue around the opening. I want it to stay really secure. I don't want it bubbling or popping up. slide this on here. Well, that turned out pretty good. And I've also inked this outer edge here. Come on. Sometimes this tape backing has a mind of its own. All right. Now it's just a matter of me taking the backing off, and then I'm going to line the bird back up to its original position. So again, I'm going to go off camera so that you don't have to watch me pull all these backings off. Again, I don't want it in my workspace, so give me just 2 shakes here. It won't take me very long. Okay. I'm going to put the bird down first, so I make sure I got it lined up, and then put that in, press it. Okay, now I've got a little bit of height here, I've got a little bit of height over here, but then I went in and cut out one of the, you've got a sheet that has across the bottom at some of these smaller tags, and this one happens to say Provence. So I mounted it on some cardstock, and I put some pop-ups, and it's going to go right up here. Okay, so what we have then is we've got your left and your right side panels. We have a tuck over here. We've got a tuck over here. And then when we get in here, we have a pocket. And you can put a photo here. You could even take a dark blue or black pen and journal here. So we'll go ahead and get the tape put on the back of this so that we can get this in our album. This page here reminds me of another collection they did, which was, I made an album out of it called Wizard Academy, and they had this beautiful centerpiece and these accent pieces all the way around. So I was happy when I cut into this that I was able to save that long bookmark type piece to fit in on that large pocket. Get this burnished. Get my book. And I am going to lay it this way. You'll see me do that throughout the build because it allows me the visibility on 3 sides when I'm getting ready to put this in the album. I got to make sure that everything is going in the correct direction. I'm taking this edge and I'm going to come right up to this edge, and then make sure my top and bottom are even, that they're not going askew, and then I'll press, and then I can come in here and burnish that down, and then I'll take the rest of the tape off. Now when I take my tape off on the ends here, I'm going to make sure that this gusset stays what I call tall, that it hasn't flattened out on me. And then, pardon my head if that's in the camera. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this gusset. When I pull this tape off, I will make sure that this gusset is standing straight. And there you have it. So we'll be back on our next video, which we will be working on the signature 2 for page 1. I'll see you then.